So my name's Rita.
And you're from the...
I'm from the Tigray Youth Network.
Great.
So anything else?
That's great. In your own words, can you tell me what's happening in Tigray?
There's currently a genocide happening in Tigray, where hunger is being used as a weapon, sexual violence is being used as a weapon, public and private institutions have been destroyed, infrastructure has been destroyed, hospitals are essentially non-existent, and the poorest and most vulnerable are paying for it.
If you could send a message to political institutions, media institutions who seem to have largely ignored what's going on, what would you say?
I'd say that every state, at least the ones that have signed the UN Convention for the Responsibility to Protect, have a responsibility to protect. There are atrocity crimes happening in Tigray, war crimes, crimes against humanity, all of it could amount to genocide. And every state has a responsibility to act, to prevent and to punish the state regardless of sovereignty, without consideration for sovereignty. That's what I'd say, I think.
How is the situation in Tigray? How's it affecting you personally?
I think my life has changed completely since November the 4th. I was a master's student in Rome because of the lockdown. We were all away. Because of the lockdown, we couldn't go into university, so I went away. I was exploring, having a good time, a normal student, until this started, the war started. I spoke to my brother the day before the war in November the 4th. We were discussing my next trip to Tigray to visit him. And then the next day, we couldn't get in touch, we couldn't speak to anyone. Everyone was freaking out on the internet. My family, my mum and dad live in Manchester with some of my other siblings. They were having a difficult time, so I had to stop everything I was doing in Rome, like exploring and being a normal young person, and go back to try to do whatever I can to advocate for my brother, selfishly to be able to speak to my brother and to the rest of my family in Tigray, but also the wider Tigrayan population who were suffering from the very difficult things that are like starvation and war, like bombs dropping on their houses, and the very real physical impacts of war, but also from the very painful emotional aspects of it, the yearning to speak to your family, to be able to have a conversation, to ask them how their day went. So yeah, I felt like I had an obligation to come back. I couldn't carry on what I was doing there. Almost zero attention went into my masters and what I was doing for myself. My whole attention turned to Tigray, and it's been like that, I guess, since November the 4th. I don't really have much contact with my friends who are not completely absorbed by Tigray anymore. I've neglected them in a sense as well. But, you know, when there's a genocide, you know, there's hardly anything else that's more important in the world.
What's your message to the wider population here and abroad about what they can and should be doing?
So I'm going to use the typical cliche quote that's like, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And that's really true, because this was happening in Tigray since November the 4th, and, you know, atrocities and crimes against humanity and so on happen elsewhere across the world as well. They're happening. And when the world turns away from that and distances themselves from it, I think we are enabling it and also welcoming it to wherever we are. And so the fact that it's happened in Ukraine, for example, and there's a lot of outrage in the world, is a consequence. A part of it is a consequence of the fact that we didn't have that much outrage for every other injustice in the world. So I would say stand with the people of Tigray, but also stand against any injustices anywhere and speak out as if you would if it was you.
Those are all my questions, but is there anything else that you would like to say? Any other messages? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Yeah. So I think, like in any war, women face... women are often the sacrificial lamb in any case, I think, especially in societies like the Tigrayan society. And in Tigray, you know, their bodies, the bodies of Tigrayan women have been used as battlefields. We know that, you know, the UN Population Fund has estimated around 26,000 women have sought medical assistance after being made victims of weaponized rape. And that is that number is an understatement because of the societal taboo of rape. Many women won't have come forward. A lot of these women, around half, are said to have been pregnant from the rapes. There have been no medical... they haven't been able to seek medical assistance because all of the healthcare facilities are completely destroyed. I think the only operating clinical management of rape cases is gone now, is completely gone. And, you know, these women have nowhere to go. A lot of these women say that they'd rather have been murdered than endure what they did. And I think in a lot of cases, everywhere, nobody takes rape as seriously as they do murder. And I don't know, I think what I want to do, I want to ask that everybody really considers these women and what they will have to endure for the rest of their lives because of what happened to them in that moment. They can't even seek medical assistance, let alone justice, and nobody wants to talk about it. No one, it's very uncomfortable, it's very difficult. But we should. Does that make sense? That's it, sorry.